On the Schwab Network. It's time for cash tags. For that, let's bring in our next guest. That's going to be Andy Swan, co-founder at LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Andy.
Thank you. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you. We're looking at Apple. It's had a pretty decent year, even though maybe the super cycle hasn't taken place. But I think maybe a lot of the moves in Apple, especially towards the end of the year, has been on the back of the hope and optimism that the Apple Intelligence is going to be maybe the leader with how to monetize maybe AI moving forward with these new phones.
Yeah, I think Apple's in a really good spot. You know, once we saw the September keynote and the reaction that consumers had to that keynote event, we knew that Apple was setting up for a really good holiday season, and so far, everything that we're seeing points to that being true. Web visits for Apple are up year over year by a pretty decent margin. But when we break it down by product category and look, at the overall demand for each of these types of products, you really get the sense that Apple, going into the Christmas holiday gift-giving season, just really has something for everyone on your list. If you want to spend $499, you can get an iPad mini that is extraordinarily popular. The Pencil looks like it's getting added on at a tremendous clip, which is a high margin item for Apple. If you want to spend $129, you can get AirPods for your friend or for your niece or whatever it is. And people are doing so in droves. iPad searches up 26%, AirPods and iPhone 15, 16%. The only real whiff we see on the list is the Apple Watch. I think that's just a reflection of, this isn't a big cycle for the Apple Watch. There wasn't any huge updates to it. I think a lot of people are waiting for the next go around on that. So everything playing out pretty well as we predicted after the keynote event, and really looking very strong going into 2025, which I think is going to be a very big year for Apple on the, as people reset, recycle, get their new phone, get their new iPad, get their new AirPods. It's kind of all lining up for Apple to have a great 2025.
Andy, when this whole news broke and the story broke about, you have to have the 15 or 16 to upgrade to Apple Intelligence, people's imagination kind of took hold, and they started thinking, wait a minute, how many people have to really upgrade this phone? And the stock, the second half of the year has rallied incredible amounts. 6 months, up 19%, 12 months, up 31%. But all that's priced in now, Andy. Can they, now you have to deal with expectations for what everything is. Can this company beat the expectations that are frankly at a 40, almost a 42 PE are already built into this name? I think they're going to do wonderful things. Is it good enough to hold this valuation?
Yeah, I think it is. I think Apple stock is getting expensive for all the right reasons that Apple stock normally gets expensive, and that's because they're about to deliver game-changing technology that has, almost a viral feedback loop of purchasing power. I think that the AI functionality, as they rolled it out, it's pretty cool. You can see where they're going. I think it's going to end up being kind of like the blue bubbles on your text screen versus the green bubbles. And eventually, all of the green bubble people kind of get forced into submission by their friends and family to get an iPhone. I think it's going to be very similar with the Apple Intelligence features being built right into the phone. Eventually, those magic moments that you're seeing your friends and family members share and making their lives easier are going to become Apple's best marketing. And I think that's starting to take hold now. I think 2025, they're going to deliver in a big way, because I think Apple is a very conservative company in a lot of ways, technologically speaking. They know that their ecosystem is extremely broad, it's extremely picky, and they generally don't roll out new technologies or new features that they can't support well into the future and that they don't have a really solid roadmap for. And so I do think that the Apple Intelligence is going to be a big driver of new product adoption and ecosystem expansion from a monetary perspective.
Andy, we always talk about seasonality with stocks. I mean, Apple always gets a big boost heading into the holiday shopping season. With the advent of the AI or artificial intelligence for Apple, they're going to release something for Siri. Is that maybe one of the keys where you're seeing continued positive data in this name based on the fact that they haven't even rolled out maybe half of their artificial intelligence tools that they have planned, right?
Yeah, I would actually guess that number is below 10% in terms of what they have planned to roll out over the next year. I think they're just getting people kind of integrated into the system and into the process at this point. And you're right, the holiday season is critical for Apple. The keynote is critical. The reaction to that was positive. That told us that holiday would be positive. Holidays is coming in even better than we expected. And generally speaking, when Apple has a great holiday season, it's a tell that the next 12 to 18 months could be phenomenal and kind of a super cycle for the company. And I think that we're right on the cusp of that potentially happening here, especially with new features and new technologies being integrated into the products directly.
All right, great breakdown for us. Appreciate it, Andy. Have a great day.
Thank you, too.
All right, that's Andy Swan, co-founder at LikeFolio, breaking down the pod. I mean, their data kind of matches up with what's happened with Apple. And you and I talk about the valuation side of it all the time. I think from some of the checks and some of the notes that I've read, Wedbush came out with a note today, in late December to Dan